Welcome everybody, Don Giannetti from dongiannetti.com and lighting-essentials.com. Today we're going to look at some photographs that are legacy assignment images from my Project 52 Pro system, which I've sunsetted, and just want to share this with you. We call this little segment Break It Down. So we're going to look at some photographs and we're going to break them down. So here we go. We're going to get started with the Kevin Carson's shot. I should back up just for a second and say these shots are done for an assignment for an airline travel magazine. I know they don't exist as much as they used to. I'm not sure they exist at all these days, but they did a few years ago when this assignment was given. And airline magazines were a great source of revenue for photographers. So that's what we did. And here we have some shots here. The first one up is Kevin Carson with his little salad, very simple tomato salad recipe. That's the idea, is to create a recipe image. And almost every one of the magazines had a recipe in the middle. They'd have a few things, a nice photograph, and then tell you how to did it. And then tell you how they did it. So that's what we're doing here. So you can see how pretty the light is on the tomatoes here. Kevin's got some beautiful light. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm so sorry. Beautiful light here on the tops of the tomatoes. Got that little catch light right here. Do you see that? That little thing is really, really nice. It helps give the image some dimension. It's not hard to do, but you have to do it. You can't just light the thing and let everything reflect all over the place. It doesn't happen right. You've got to control it. We've got a little line, a little reflection there. We've got a little reflection there. Notice how pretty the knife is, and we can still see the logo, which is important. We can still see that logo in there. So how did he do it? Well, he did it this way. He's got the set down here. He's got a black card behind the set, blocking off the light from the large softbox. Could be a scrim. And this is the light source, the main light source coming through the back. The black blocks the light from hitting the board and everything so harshly. Let's go back. You can see that. We don't have this all lit up back here. It would be really, really bright if it were. So back to this. He's got the image set up here just nicely in front of the light. And he's got some white cards that are on this side, and that's causing the reflection. Got one over here, and there's one obliquely in here, and you can't see it. But those are causing the little reflections on the tomatoes. The angle of the knife to the white source here will determine how bright that knife is. Now in Kevin's case, the knife has a little bit of a tooth to it, so it's not chrome. It's got a little bit of a texture, and so it gives him a little bit more of diffused area to light up. But this angle is absolutely critical, and you'll find that moving the knife as much as a 1/16 of an inch can change everything. So be very, very careful when you're moving it. Next shot up is by Derek Rose. Really clean, very, very much in the style of the airline magazines. So we've got the black background. All the items are with the white spoons, and we got the ice up here and the milk. We got the white standing up out of the background. Beautiful highlight here, which is a reflection of the light source. This little highlight here on the black board. Let's go see how he lit it. There we go. Camera's up here. Here's his strip box with an 8200 in it, and it's giving a little reflection here, angle of incidence, angle of reflection on that white foam core. Foam core isn't a very matte surface. It's got a little bit of a shine to it. Now Derek worked the corners a little bit in Photoshop, but the shots basically designed that way. So bounce card here, bounce card there. That keeps the light circling around all of these items here, giving it nice highlights. But because he's shooting down away from the angle that the whiteboards would be seen in the card, they're not seen. They're not seen at all. When you go back to the picture, you can't see the white cards. You can just see the result of the white cards. They're not infecting the background at all. Angle of incidence equals angle of reflection. And I don't believe in a lot of rules in photography. I find most rules are made to be broken, but that rule is a rule, and it's a rule because it's physics, it's real. Jennifer Moore created this beautiful morning light set here for her breakfast shot. Nicely done. Everything's got this great little shadow going on it here. And how she does very, very fascinating. It looks like a giant window, doesn't it? Like a window with sunlight coming in. It's actually a window with sunlight coming in. I know. But on this side, up here where the camera is, do you see how dark the shadows are here? They're almost black, right? Now, she didn't fix that in Photoshop. What she did was she has where we're seeing the camera here was focused down this way, but she has giant white cards on both sides of the camera, and the white cards are filling in the shadows. That's why the shadows are so open. The white bounce cards are filling them in. You can see it's a little bit brighter here than it is here. And so those white cards are doing a great job keeping it lit, but that sunlight is going to still throw a shadow because the white card cannot be more powerful than the main light. So she did a great job. By the way, you see the bubbles here in the milk. You got to have bubbles in your milk. You can't do it otherwise. Is it milk or yogurt? I mean, seriously, you got to take care of your textures. Show your visitor, show your viewer exactly what's going on. Elizabeth Barron did this lovely shot using the design of all the three, all the bowls here, all 6 bowls, and the spoon, a little bit of spill coming down here to give it a little bit of whimsy, and it's just lovely. Got a bit of a gradient. You can see it's brighter here than it is here, so that keeps the eye moving through the image. Great highlights here on the egg, great highlights here on whatever that is. I think that's ice cream, but I can hope. And it's a very simple set, and it makes a lot of sense when you see it. Shooting straight down, she's got 2 lights set up here. Both of them are even. The difference is this one is higher and farther away than this one, which is closer and lower. And so when we go back here, we can see that the one that's closer and lower is still providing a little shadow, which we need. We can't do the shot without shadows. Not for this kind of shot. You can if you want. I mean, it's a stylistic decision, but for this assignment, no, we didn't want that. So we've got a little bit of shadow, and yet the other light from the other side, higher and a little bit farther away, is just softening up those shadows so they're not hard and dark. This light is only about 1.5 feet away. The wide angle lens pushes it out, but it's about 1.5 feet away, so it's very close. And when lights are very close, you get very soft light because it wraps around. Just a lovely shot by Elizabeth Barron. Next up is Pete Visser. Pete shot on white, kept a little bit of a shadow going here for the client. Client needed that. We get a little bit down here. Have to have that. Look at the beautiful color balance though. Pure white. The bread looks great. The salmon looks great. The cheese looks really good. Cheese is hard to photograph because it's a little bit translucent, as is butter. So you have to be very careful when you're shooting cheese that you don't have that angle where the light will just dip right into the cheese and light it up, and then you can lose focus, you can lose texture. Pete did a really, really great job here. And how did he do it? Well, he built a tent around it. He's got this thing just all tented in there. Really, really nice, but he's got this light on the top is his main, but he's pushing this little speed light through a part of the scrim back there to give it a little bit of direction. Do you see that? Just a little bit of direction. It's so important. How much brighter is than the ambient? I don't know, maybe a stop, maybe a half stop, but maybe even less than that, down to 1/3 of a stop. Yeah, this is probably 1/3 of a stop. So it's just a little wink of light there, covering all the angles with the light tent here makes for a really beautiful, really clean image. Next one up is Rob Hinkle. Rob used a lot of design elements. Isn't this nice? It just looks like a poster, doesn't it? Looks great. It's a nice shot with everything feeling like it's just set there without someone, quote, composing it, but it was well composed. Things don't happen this way. This is a shot that we call everything in its place. I'm going to go back through the other ones and show you that. And when you're doing things that are not dynamic, and dynamic, I mean like the pan would be over part of the onion, or this would be under part of the pan, where one thing is covering another. Okay, when you don't do that and you have everything in its place, you have to be very careful about what's your main subject. And so the distance between the items and everything in its place is important. See how clean that is? See how clean that is? This is a little bit farther away, but the shadow helps fill it in. I would have had him move that in just a little bit had I been the art director on this. And then you get down to the pan here, which is a very large, dark, graphic element with the onion in the middle. I think it's very easy to see the onion as the hero, but it's also very easy to take in the entire composition as the hero and ignore the onion. I'm by itself, ignore it, not ignore it totally. How did he do it? Really nice. Really, really nice. He's got his camera up here. He's got his light coming through a scrim, coming through, and lots of white cards all around to keep that thing lit up, but always, always with that sense of direction to the light. You can't lose that. It's not a good thing to do. Next up is Deng Ang. And Deng Ang Shui has this lovely, lovely composition here. Isn't this great? Deng Ang did something very nice here. Let me show you compositionally. This is everything in its place. If you take a little square and start dragging it around, you're going to find everything in its place. Really, really nice. Notice nothing overlaps anything else. The problem with overlapping is once you start overlapping one thing, you're going to have to overlap a lot more. Everything in its place. Beautifully designed image. A little bit far there, so she puts the blueberry in the middle. Look at that, all the way around. And it gives it a real comfort. Now, she did another thing, is that she cropped the blackberries at the top, which you can do if you crop something else. You can't crop just one thing. It very rarely works. So she cropped them at the top, and she cropped them at the bottom, and that worked. And then she cropped the blueberries just a little bit over here. Now, because everything is in its place, when you look at this composition, you don't see any one thing as the hero. The blueberries were the largest bowl, but she cropped them. We don't crop heroes, right? The largest part of the image, largest element is the blueberries. We cropped them. Strawberries look good, but they're balanced out by the raspberries. Strawberries up here, bananas, blackberries up here. And the entire composition, everything in the picture is the image. It's very nicely done. How did she do it? Lots of white cards, very carefully placed. Camera's, of course, above. A softbox coming through a scrim. And a very, very large white card here. I want to show you the composition of a couple of other ones here. We go to Pete Visser's. Look at this. Everything in its place. Sorry. And then we come up here. And we come up over here. We come, hello. Down here. And we come down here. And so everything is in its place. Very, very nice. Nothing is cropped. And so when we look at it, it's really hard to see a hero. Now, if you overlap the butter dish over the top of the plate with the bread on it, and you overlap the salmon with the plate with the bread on it, and you move this in really close so it overlapped that one, and you had a big distance between all of these elements and this, that would be the hero. It's like, it's like a singer with the backup singers. Backup singers are all close together and the hero stands right out. So you've got to be careful when you're doing composition how that can affect the overall placement of your items. Look at this shot. Beautifully done. No hero. There is no hero in this picture. There are components. This is a shot that is very much a group shot. It's just the components. The same with this one. Photographer cropped here, they cropped here, they cropped here, and up here. So the cropping pulls it dynamically in, and then inside here, everything in its place. You know, we've got things all around here. You know, this one's a little close to the picture, but it will work. It will certainly work. I think I probably would have moved this one over a little bit and up if I were the art director, but still a great, great shot. And this one's by Jennifer Moore. Really, really wonderful shot. And it really has that nice, you know, daylight feel to it because it's daylight. Anyway, Derek, everything in its place. Look at this. Sorry, I'm just not very good with the mouse today. Everything in its place here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. Everything looks good. And so when we look at the picture, once again, no hero. Components. It's an ensemble photograph. Looks really, really good. Come back up here to Kevin, and we're going to have the same thing. Kevin overlapped tomatoes. That's okay, because he overlapped that tomato too. Remember what I said? If you overlap one thing, you got to overlap another thing. And he overlapped the vinaigrette with the tomato there, and he overlapped the bottle there with the garlic, and we've got everything laid out. And so when you look at it, I think you'll agree, the knife looks like the hero, or becomes at least a heroic part of the shot. So also the spacing here, all the way through it, really good. So different ways to shoot this. This is a fun assignment that we used to do at Project 52. I may bring Project 52 back, but it won't be a year course. We'll probably do smaller modules if I do, but that was a lot of fun. And gosh, you know, over nearly 300 photographers have attended that thing. And there's so many pros out there that were Project 52 members. It's amazing. I'm going to start interviewing them here for YouTube. So everyone, look, have a great rest of your day. We're coming up on the weekend if you happen to watch it the day I launch it. And have a really wonderful weekend. Have a great week wherever you are. Hit the like button. I don't care if you subscribe. All that stuff's nonsense to me. But if you want to hit the bell, that would be, not the bell, the like button. The bell is annoying. I don't hit the bell on anybody. I'm not asking you to. So have a great one. We'll see you next time.